Have you ever wondered when you sit down to do some work and you just can't focus? You pick up your phone, you start scrolling on Instagram or Snapchat or any other social media application for that matter. You put your phone down, you start working again on your task, and somehow you still can't sit through the whole session and still can't focus. Now why? And how can you overcome that? The reason being is multitasking is bad. Now don't get me wrong, we can multitask, but we cannot multi-focus. For example, we can multitask when it comes to cleaning your room while you're listening to music, but we cannot multi-focus at the same time. You still can multitask, but you will more likely make more mistakes as your brain is not fully focusing on one single task. Only 2% of the world's population can multitask and multi-focus at the same time. Our brain is not wired to multi-focus. The cerebral cortex is the part of the brain which is associated with our attention, awareness, and concentration span. You can only do two things at once if they require a different set of cognitive resources. For example, cleaning your room while listening to music. You can easily do that task because you're not fully focusing on just one thing. There was also a study conducted by Microsoft back in 2015 which compared the attention span of human beings that to of a goldfish. The human beings being 9 seconds compared to the goldfish, which was 8 seconds. But now there have been new studies that the attention span of a human being is closer to 3 minutes, which is still not enough. After 3 minutes, our brain is more likely to focus on something else. For example, picking up your phone and going through social media or Instagram. Now, why does your brain wants to pick up the phone after 3 minutes? This brings me to dopamine. Now, dopamine is the chemical in our brain which gets secreted when we accomplish something or when we accomplish a task. It's like a reward that our body is giving us, and that feeling gives us immense pleasure. Dopamine can be secreted by doing anything that you love. For example, eating good food, sex, shopping, playing a good sport, anything. Whatever you enjoy. When dopamine levels rise in your body, you subconsciously want more of it. That's why you are more concentrated over doing that same thing again and again, because it's giving you that dopamine hit that you want. Now, there have been many studies that have shown that your phone helps you to get that dopamine hit because you get pleasure from your phone.
Action.
So now your brain has associated that dopamine hit with your phone because now your phone helps you in being aroused, happy, or motivated. Now what this does is whenever you sit down and you wanted to do something or when you wanted to finish a particular task or your particular work, your brain wants more dopamine levels to be secreted. And when you do this a lot, your dopamine levels get overstimulated in your brain. Now, what does this mean? To have that focus where you can sit for a really long period of time, now your body needs more dopamine level to sit through that whole period of time compared to what your body was getting before when there were no phones in the picture or no screens or no social media. Your brain was not overstimulated by dopamine, so you were easily able to focus for longer periods of time without getting your brain distracted. Now, let's put phone in this picture. Now your brain knows that my dopamine levels are not going to get secreted by looking at this laptop screen and going through this work that you want to do. Instead, your brain will crave for more dopamine that you will get through your phone. So instead, sitting for a really long period of time, you pick up your phone and you start using social media because now your brain is getting that dopamine hit and you are overstimulating it. Now this brings me to my third point, that dopamine and multitasking is related to each other. Because your brain keeps craving that dopamine hit, you are bound to pick up your phone and scroll through social media so that you can satisfy your brain's dopamine cravings. Multitasking has been found to increase cortisol, which is the stress hormone, as well as adrenaline, which can also overstimulate your brain and cause brain fog and scrambled thinking. Now, what multitasking does is multitasking creates a dopamine feedback addiction loop. What does this mean is that your brain will get rewarded every time it loses focus and constantly search for external stimulation. So what you should be doing instead, you should be focusing on monotasking. This brings me to my fourth and last point. How to be effective. Number one, your smartphones. Yes, this little guy here. They are your worst enemy. Keep them away from you. Whenever you sit down to do something, put your phone on Do Not Disturb. This will help you a lot to stay away from all that distraction. Moreover, put your phone in another room and then try to focus on one thing. This will help you to get that deep focus eventually whenever you want to work on something and whenever you want to get something done. Second is use the Pomodoro technique. Work in 25-minute sessions and then take 5-minute breaks. Use the Pomodoro technique if you can sit for 25 minutes and focus intensely within those 25 minutes. Also, when you're monotasking, your brain will come up with new ideas because your brain is decluttered and is only focusing on one aspect. This helps me a lot when I have to edit my videos or when I have to come up with like any creative ideas. Monotasking helps me a lot as I'm only focusing on one thing and my brain helps me to give me more ideas. Andrew Huberman says, most of your cognition follows through visual perception. Studies have shown that zooming in or narrowing down your vision to a very fine point in what you see increases your clarity of goal seeking, and it also increases the probability of getting through your goal. A really good exercise is focus on 30 to 60 seconds at a particular dot or a line. And then when you have that focus for 30 to 60 seconds and shift that gaze to your dedicated work. This will help you to get in the state of that deep focus. Do a dopamine detox. This will help you bring your dopamine to your normal and stable level. And what this will do is now next time when you sit down to get something done, your brain doesn't need that much amount of dopamine to have that focus, and it won't distract you to pick up your phone and to start scrolling on social media again. Sit down, take out your journal, and write down things that you think takes away your attention span. Stop doing those. Don't do this to yourself. You can easily overcome these obstacles. Your brain is really powerful. Trust me, you can do whatever you think you're capable of. Lastly, I would recommend meditation and breathing techniques. This is the book I'm currently reading. It's called How to Improve Concentration. It's a really good book. It talks about breathing techniques and meditation techniques that you can practice every day, and it will help you to have or increase your focus, increase your attention, and increase concentration span. This is what I have for today's video. Thanks for watching and have a good one. Peace.